Could you say go?
Fucking hoe. Go.
Alright, everyone shut up. Hey folks, welcome to Pitcast, where we're talking about the marching arts. Of course, none of us are actually marching right now, it's the winter. I'm Willem Doherty, I actually do march. I march trombone and tuba in the summer, and in the fall I do vibraphone.
Hi, my name is Connor. I don't march either, and I stay in pit even over the summer. I play marimba. Um, I've had 4.5 years of experience, and next up would be Dylan.
Yeah, hello, I'm Dylan. During marching band season, I played trombone, and then in the winter percussion season, I play synth.
I'm Eleanor. I did color guard last season, but in winter, I am part of auxiliary, and I also play euphonium.
Alright, and we're going to take it over to our marimba 2, our guest for tonight, Nina Srivastava, who's going to tell me if I pronounced her name right.
So it's Srivastava. Yeah, my name's Nina. I play marimba, obviously. This is my 6th season. Well, it was my 6th season. But yeah, that's who I am.
How do you guys count seasons? Because I always, before I did winter, I would always, count people who did winter as like a separate type of season. But now that I'm in it, they're all the same season to me.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. There's a pattern between people who do winter and don't do winter. It's all the people who don't do winter who refuse to consider it a season, than all of us who want more seasons than everybody else.
Well, I
count
mean,
it as a season?
I'm never not in pit, so they just all count as season. So. But I could see why you would want to differentiate. You could be like, hi, I did like 4 seasons of fall marching band and like 3 seasons of winter percussion, or you could just put it all together.
I feel like when I'm counting them, I don't count seasons, I count years. Because if I only do summer and I say 4 years, it says like 4 years. It's like a baseline kind of thing.
And then there's always like, I feel like I always have to qualify myself with like, well, I did trombone 3 years and then tuba 1 year, and then I did aux my first year on winter, and then vibraphone this year. So like, I feel like I always have to qualify those statements when I talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say, I played like a season on bells, a season on xylo, a season on xylo bells, and then I played marimba, just because it's like fun, different stuff.
Yeah. Well, before we get into talking about stuff like that, we should probably talk about what this podcast is actually going to be about. Me specifically, I noticed that there was no podcast out there for the percussionists and front ensemble members of the world. There's a bunch of podcasts for pretty much everything, but I've never seen a pit podcast or something like that. So we came up with Pitcast. We tried to start this up around 2 years ago in like late 2017, and it just did not work well. I was 12 years old at the time, so I had no idea what I was doing. But I've met a bunch of people who are good at hosting stuff and all that kind of stuff, so we were kind of actually trying it this time. And I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Hopefully it goes better than last time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening to this, it must have gone better.
Imagine this goes viral.
Yeah, that's funny. So
I guess
We get 1 million views on this.
I guess we should talk
That's
about
how
the
it works.
elephant in the room with like WGI in winter this year, because
Oh, God.
there is no winter season anymore. It's done. We're
It
done.
vanished into thin air.
Yeah, it's really heartbreaking just because we all put so much time. We started in November. Some groups, I think, start a little bit earlier than that, or at least just earlier in November. And you work so hard on this one thing. And all of a sudden, it was just like, sorry, guys, you can't do this. You can't, finish what you were doing. It's just done. It's over. And we tried to have a friends and family show, but that didn't work out because the school met the day before, the staff met the day before at our school, and they said, sorry, no one can go back to the high school. So we can't even have that little bit of closure, and I think that's why it's so heartbreaking.
And then, Connor, you had said that we had still gone through 95% of our season, hours-wise. But it was still
95.4.
Yeah, and it's still so hard because this is like the culmination of everything we've done in that past 95%. Like 5% doesn't seem like a lot, but this is where all of it comes together. This is like everything, all the work we put in is into this one 5%, and now we've only had 3 shows. Like,
Yeah.
Especially people who are in independent groups. Like we have a friend in Liberty Front, and I know he was very devastated about all of this, but also there's a whole issue with money too. Like kids paid
mm-hmm.
thousands of dollars to do this program, and then they don't get to go to Worlds. It's very good that WGI extended the age out date, and I do respect them for doing that. But also, like, a bunch of these kids are like, they're never gonna have that same experience again. Every year is always different.
Yeah, and I read something, this girl, she wasn't aging out, but she had to go to, like, nursing school or med school or something for the next 2 years, so she wasn't gonna be able to do it. And, yeah, I think she had, like, a year when she got back from doing all of that, but still, it was very just, like, abrupt, and she was like, "Wow, like, I know it's not the same as aging out, but, this hurts."
Yeah, it's very, and we have to keep in mind that this was all done in service of preventing a global
Yes, yeah.
pandemic from
Of
spreading.
course, yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, wash your hands if you're listening to this. You really have to be careful out there. But
Yeah.
all the same, it hurts, man.
Yeah,
It
I
really.
mean, I think the worst part about it, the reason it's so heartbreaking is that it's so helpless. It's not like we can go to the CDC and be like, "You're wrong. You need to give us back our season." Like they're right, but it just hurts. It's really
Yeah,
helpless.
because going to Dayton, Ohio, the big thing for us. Nina, how was your Dayton experience last year?
God, it was literally the best weekend of my life. I was kind of a mess. I was like in tears for an entire day, but it was still like just the best weekend ever because it was a big bubble of percussion and that's all I've ever wanted and I was more myself than I ever had been, if that makes sense.
And you were
It's
looking so forward to having it this year again too?
Absolutely. The moment
Mm-hmm.
I heard our show, I was like, this is going to sound so good in that arena, and it never happened.
I think one of the most amazing parts of Dayton as a whole was being surrounded by people who love doing exactly what you're doing. Because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it's not every day that you get to hang out with thousands of other percussionists. Like in our school, there's around like what, like 30, probably 27 maybe, like total percussionists. And while I'm good friends with all of them, it was nice to see that like my like the thing I love doing, other people love doing too. There's an
it's
entire
like
community there.
it's like 40,000, right? 40,000 people in Dayton
I'm not
I
sure.
come
think
to
so,
Dayton.
yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
Because
It's a large number.
it's not just our band, our program that's feeling this. It's every program that goes to Dayton understands like how amazing it is, and we've all just kind of lost that this year, especially
Yeah.
the seniors.
What is really beautiful about it, though, is that, like, as soon as we found this out, I was talking to the center marimba at another school, and we were just thinking about it, and from, like, through all of this, we haven't, like, pushed each other apart. We're not all like, I hate you, like, we're competitors. No, we're all coming together, whether it's, like, having, like, late night conversations with people you don't really know, making a Facebook group for everyone in WGI, or just, like, commenting little hearts on each other's posts. We've really come together as a group,
Community.
just as a community.
Family.
Yes, we are a family.
I mentioned earlier that WGI extended their age out, and that's really great, but that doesn't change the age out for high school senior. I feel so bad for them because
Yeah, God.
like independent WGI groups are cool and all, but this is still not the same as high school.
Yeah, I mean, like those people are never gonna have another chance to perform with their high school, and it's devastating for them.
Yeah.
And like someone had said before, one of you, I think it was Nina, like you can't control this. Like it's completely out of our grasp. Like we just have to accept it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit ironic just because our show was about, wanting to do something so bad, but then just not being able to just over and over again. And that's kind of what happens. So,
Yeah, we can actually the show is up on Bryson Teal's YouTube page. We can probably get a link to that in the show notes if anyone wants to listen.
Yeah,
if
check
you
out
look
Bryson
up,
Teal. Check out his music. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
Bryson Teal
check
is
out
awesome.
Blood by Bryson Teal and then check out the music video I made.
He also has a podcast.
he
I
does.
Listen to
forget. I
that.
think it's called Petrichor and the Marching Arts, if I'm
The
saying that correctly.
Petrichor Marching Arts podcast.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't know how to speak,
He has
but
2
yeah,
episodes out. Please go watch them. He's a great guy.
they're very
so good.
educational.
He's a sound designer for our high school and a few others. I'm not sure which others, but he designed our show. Our show is Bloom. So if you look up Bryson Teal Bloom, you can find an audio recording of it. I'm not going to say the name of our school because I don't know if that could get me in trouble. But, you can find it.
I don't know. Just going back to like what you guys were saying about Dayton and how devastating it is. Like I don't know if Dillon had this experience last year, because last year I had just joined the winter percussion. I'm usually a brass player, but like I think seeing that in Dayton, like the pure energy and like watching Spirit perform in the lot and stuff, it like really pushed me towards becoming a better player and thriving as a player, sort of.
Yeah, I feel that exactly because me and you, we were Bone Brothers during the marching band season, playing trombone. Then we show up to winter percussion, and it's a completely different vibe than marching band. Because marching band, I was like, wow, it's like 80 something people in our program, and they're all so close. Then I come to winter, and I'm like, wait, this is like 20 something people in this program who are even closer. And going to Dayton with such a smaller group where I could connect with each and every one of them and go see all these amazing shows. Like Spirit was amazing, Pulse was amazing, Broken City also amazing. It's just completely different, and it's a good different.
Yeah. The group we had last year, I feel so connected to them, which is kind of funny because that was part of our show last year. Going to Dayton with them, experiencing that with them, being on the floor with them, it was just we're so close. Like I feel connected to every single one of them, even if we never really talked that much. And just that floor was my home, and that group was my family. And this group that we had this year just also became my family. And it's kind of amazing to think about that.
Yeah, like Eleanor, this is your first winter season.
It is.
And you do you feel that connection with everybody?
You know what? I was just starting to, and I think that's why the abrupt end to it is just it sucks for me because I won't get to experience what you guys had in Dayton until next year. It'll be at least
Fingers
another
crossed.
year before I get to feel that. And just the way you guys were hyping it up, it got me so excited to experience that, and really get motivated, like if I wasn't already. But just now that it's gone, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think over the summer, I'm going to be very motivated to make myself better as a player because I think this makes me realize that I can't take anything for granted. Like I thought about this season like I'll have the end of it, so I don't have to get this part perfect until next week. Something like that, but I think I have to cherish the times I have instead of acting like it's always going to be there because it's not always going to be
Yeah, that's like especially because personally, like our last show, it was not a banger, Like there were mistakes, and I remember being so excited. I was saying, like we can work on this. We've got a show here and we can work on it and bring it to Dayton, but like
Yeah.
And then it's
It-
over.
Yeah, it was really I really didn't want it to end where it did just because it was really
Yeah.
underwhelming. We use a lot of electronics and only 1 out of our 4 speakers worked, I believe.
Yeah, that was
and
real
it was
fun.
it was so underwhelming, and I really didn't want it to end there, but I mean,
And
Yeah,
the
it is
racks
what it
breaking
is.
as soon as we got off.
That was bad. That was very bad.
Please give us money. We went like $500 over our budget, and everything is still breaking.
Donate.
I don't know. I don't know if this is universal. Maybe some programs in high school are better funded than ours. Like maybe people in the comments can like say, our winter percussion program is underfunded and everything is breaking all the time.
I mean, we just kind of bang stuff for hours on end. Of course, things are going to break.
I don't think
Yeah.
like we even pay our staff.
We do, but like not.
They're
I asked one of
enslaved.
them, and they were like, "You could get more money babysitting," but that
We're
also
holding them
like
against their
a
will.
lot of our stuff is like homemade. Like I know our synth carts are. I think our marimba frame on our marimba 3 is. It's interesting.
Yeah, one of our
But-
staff made our synth carts actually. Do you really think that our staff would make a synth cart if they weren't getting paid?
Yeah.
Because that was all out of his pocket, and he's still waiting for the
Actually,
school to pay him back.
He
but-
got
They
a
also-
lot of that stuff for free because like
Wait,
he
really?
went to Home Depot and they were just like, "Oh, you're with the school? Yeah, we'll give it to you for free."
Oh, that's
Awesome.
really nice.
But also he also probably did that because he cares about us. I think we're very lucky as a group to have
That's very true. Yeah.
a lot of staff who really care about us as people. They want us to get better as people. They want to help us. They want us to be successful because they want us to be able to feel that. And I think that's really incredible. They also work very well together as
They definitely do.
a board.
Yeah, join us for next episode where we will be we'll be ranking all of our staff, like A through F tiers.
Yeah, we're gonna make a tier list, man.
Tier list for everyone that went to percussion, not just the staff. We just spilled tea the whole time.
Nathaniel, you get an A.
Nathaniel's an
Daniel's
S. What are you
Patrick.
talking about?
What do you know, Nathaniel?
That was me.
Nathaniel is way up there.
Nathaniel, if you're listening, I love you. Please wave to me.
I mean, yeah, I think it all goes back to like I don't know. COVID-19 is just ruining everything this year.
Oh god.
Really
Yeah.
is.
Stock
Really
market, too.
is. The stock
this-
market's
The stock
crashing.
market.
Oh my gosh.
This was really just a slap in the face. Like
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh, your season's over. Oh, you're really sad and you wanted to get your hair done. Sorry, you can't go to the mall because it's scary there." You know?
I think it's funny how we were joking about how I had it back in January when I literally couldn't breathe for a month, and then it got to the point where it did happen, and now we all probably have it, and I think I think that's karma.
I think.
Yeah.
I think while it is like one of those diseases that's like people are freaking out over no reason, I still do think it's scary because
Yeah.
stuff like this, like it's not something you can take lightly. Even if the mortality rates are like 98, 97%, whatever it is, it's still it's still something bad. Like the stock market, you can just look at
Yeah.
that. Like it's not just people dying, it's not just people getting sick. Like it affects the entire world when stuff like this happens.
It's crazy how just the entire world is just like shut down and
That's the
It's
problem though.
insane.
It hasn't entirely shut down. Like there's still people going to their 9 to 5s because they need to
Yeah,
work, they need to make money. I
I-
wish the world could be able to just stop and freeze for a minute so
Yeah.
that we could deal with this problem so that it doesn't like change the life expectancy of
Yeah.
the world population.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there are people who aren't getting paid and they have to stay home, or if they need to go to work to like make it through the week, and they can't do anything about that.
Exactly.
I'm just worried because I have to next year's my last season of fall marching, and then I only have one more season of winter out after that. If we're talking about everyone who's listening to this podcast is certainly like a band geek, and I just wondering how that's going to affect all of our seasons to come.
Yeah, a little bit before all this happened, I was thinking, wow, I only have 2 more Daytons. I have my junior year Dayton, which is coming up real soon, and my senior year Dayton.
Wait,
And
oh.
that's it. Now I only have 1 left. And that thought hit me and I got really sad.
Yeah, part of why, like I mentioned, me getting my hair, which is a really like, I don't know, interesting thing to talk about, but I just realized that it was yesterday and we were supposed to be performing yesterday at or actually today, but like we were supposed to be at practice or performing or something yesterday, and my mom was just like, sorry, we can't go to Danbury. And it really hit me. I was like, this is a really terrible day, and now like the one thing I was doing for myself is gone.
Yeah. I think all this sucks, but I think it'll be over soon. I think once it is over, I think it's going to be over before Dayton. That's what sucks the most because it's gonna come to Dayton, and we're gonna be like, well, we could have done it, but there's no if we didn't cancel Dayton, it would have gotten worse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, you know, at the end of the day, it is just winter. Stay safe, social distance, all that. But
Yeah.
for
Whoever made
everyone
that
out there, we feel for
whoever made that phrase social distancing, they really should have copyrighted it or something, or like claimed it as their own, because now everybody's using it.
Yeah.
You know, my parents have said that these last 2 days, so like make sure to social distance yourself. Stay.
Is it
Yeah.
ironic or unironic?
See,
Not. It's so annoying.
that's the thing. Also, just because we have a group chat with like a lot of people in winter or just like or fall, and we call it Flower Gang. It's really awesome, and we usually when we're sad, we send hug requests. We can't do that now because we can't see each other. My mom just got back from California and her throat's a little scratchy, so I'm not gonna risk anyone coming over here or anything. So yeah,
Good
that's
luck,
fun.
man.
Thanks.
Yeah. I understand why people want to travel now. Like, if you bought the tickets, like, you paid all this money, oh, I might as well go, but why? Like, my aunt and uncle were planning to go to Florida. They're like, we already bought the tickets, and they have young kids, but why? Like, I understand it, of course, but
Yeah.
we're in a dangerous situation right now.
Yeah, I think obviously it's not really dangerous for people our age unless we're like immune compromised. Stuff like that could be bad, but it's dangerous as a whole because the further it spreads, the worse it will get.
And the harder it'll be to deal with it.
Yeah.
Please wash
Yeah,
your
yeah.
hands.
Yeah. Wash your hands, people.
Yeah. Stay safe, everyone. I mean, we'll get through it as a community.
Panic buy toilet paper.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Be very careful about just going places, because the sooner we deal with this problem, the sooner we can go back to having a regular life.
You know, I know it's hard. I kiss my winter percussion homies all the time.
Willem, the second I see you, I'm gonna give you a homie kiss.
Thank the Lord.
It's been too long,
Nina.
brothers.
All right, so now that we've talked about COVID-19 for a long time, we should talk more about marching arts because that's what.
Dude, I love hearing people. I love hearing people eating chips.
It's
Whoever's
actually a
eating
baby
chips
bell.
kicked
I'm
off
so
the
sorry.
podcast. Keep this in, Connor. Keep this in. You are out. Get out.
I'm so sorry about my baby bell cheese.
Right before this, I was considering getting goldfish. Then I'm like, I'll just wait. It was a
You
really
I
think
need
hard
about
snack.
that.
I
There's
need
a
a
water bottle
Decided.
sitting
podcast
right
snack.
here, and I don't want to hear people drink. I don't want people to hear me drinking the water, so I haven't touched it. But I'm thirsty.
Sure, take a
Bro,
sip.
I've
You
been
don't-
eating salami and cheese
Oh
this
my
I'd rather
entire
die.
time.
Chomping
guys-
ice this entire time.
Anyways,
I hate you. Alright, so I wanted to ask you this question, Nina, and hopefully we're gonna ask it to every guest in the pit that comes on. You know,
Yeah.
how'd you join Winter?
So I actually did not know winter percussion existed till I joined fall marching band, but the story that I love to tell is that my sister had to bring me to practice with her about 11 years ago. So I came to practice with her from 2009 to 2011. At that point, we didn't have a winter percussion group until my sister was a senior. My parents told her she couldn't join because she had to take care of me, so someone's a little salty. But that's kind of when I fell in love with it. And I spent the rest of my life being like, hey, my sister's really cool. And then it kind of evolved into, this is what I really love. So when I found out that I could do this all year round, of course I joined.
Didn't you make that presentation when you were young with all the musical stuff in it?
Yeah. So in 5th grade for computer class, we had to make PowerPoints and about whatever you wanted. So I said like all about percussion, and it was really funny because I got everything so wrong. I was like, the marimba is my favorite instrument, and like it's like a really big xylophone. And I was like, when you play snare drum, you don't have to think about rhythm because you can just kind of feel it after a while. And it was interesting.
Think of every new percussionist goes through I can just feel rhythm, you know?
Yeah.
And
I
shout
just
outs to all those people who still use PowerPoint. I personally I haven't touched it since like Google Slides was introduced to me. But shout outs to all you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a Google Slides funded podcast.
Sponsored.
My mom does work
Google
for
Slides
Google,
sponsored
so
this.
You know,
Ooh.
Nina, I'm
Yes.
just like, I think it's just such a cool story how like you've been wanting to do percussion for like what, like 8 years now. I just think it's really cool.
You got your
thank
wish.
you. Yeah, that it's funny because in 4th grade we were told, my music teacher is actually a tech at a different school now. But anyway, we
Wait,
were
did you
told
have
to write
Kowalski?
down, yes.
Yes, I love Mr. Kowalski.
We were told to write down our musical hopes and dreams, and I said my musical hope/dream is to play the marimba spelled with a U / xylophone with an A, because I didn't know if my music teacher would know what a marimba is, and I'm doing that now, and it's really cute, and I'm very nostalgic, which is why I talk about it a lot.
Yeah, Nina, I just think it's a great story. What about like everyone else? How did everyone else get into it?
I'll go first. I got into winter through my brother actually because he did the summer season before the winter season I joined. It was a pretty bad season for a school, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Still, shout outs to
Something
Tyler
Wicked
Hill.
Year. I was in it as well. We did a carnival show, which I feel like is a mainstay of crappy marching band shows, like doing a carnival show. But yeah, go on, Connor.
So he joined, and I had a friend, or sorry, my sister's friend's brother. Long story, but he was in winter, and my mom brought it up to me, and she's like, "Do you want to go to the first practice?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I rolled up, and I was just vibing out, and I joined on synth. That's how I got involved. Since then, I went from synth to xylo to marimba. I've enjoyed pretty much every season of it.
Yeah. So you actually joined when you were in 7th grade, right? When
Yeah.
we were in 7th
Connor,
grade,
you
and
were a
I
baby.
Was a bit.
yeah,
You were like 12. You were like little
I
baby.
was 12.
and yeah, and I joined the next season after that when we started 8th grade. When did everyone else join?
I joined my sophomore year, so 2018 marching band season, because my freshman year, all my friends joined, and I was scared of the huge 3 days a week, all Saturday commitment, so I didn't do it. And the entire year, all of my freshman year was filled with Dillon, do marching band. Dillon, do marching band. Dillon, marching band's so fun. You should do marching band. Oh, marching band, marching band, marching band. So I joined marching band, and I loved it so much. Like it was a wonderful experience. And then I found out that the winter percussion program existed from a bunch of friends, and they're all just like, do winter percussion, do winter percussion. Hey, Dillon, do winter percussion. So I joined winter percussion. I loved it so much.
It's
And
funny
that's been my
because
evolution of band.
like you went straight from not doing any band at all to doing the most band you could do, you know.
Yeah, I had no band after school activities. Willem, you were one of the people who was yelling at me to do marching band.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I started band way back in 8th grade in 2016, same year. Same year Tyler, Connor's brother joined. And then I actually didn't do winter until last season, not Corona season, but the season before that. I actually like I came close to doing it a couple times. I remember my sophomore year. Um, I was going to go to the opening meeting, but then I just didn't because I was lazy. So I don't know. I
Didn't your
think
sophomore year last year?
Your freshman year, you mean?
yeah, my freshman year. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. When I was joining, this program's like changed my life for the better. The past like 4.5 years of it, sorry, just 4, I've been like completely dedicated to it, and I honestly think it was the best decision I've ever made. And the like opening meeting for our 2017 season, which is the one I went to, I was like so close to not going. And I was like, you know what? Let's go. I was 20 minutes late, and then I joined, and I'm so happy I did it. And it's crazy to me to think that my life could have gone in a completely different direction if I didn't make that one decision.
It's I feel like, I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably like a band geek, like I said earlier. But if you're not a band geek and for some reason you're listening to it, I'm sure you have that thing in your life where, like, if you hadn't done that one thing or you hadn't taken a chance on this one like meeting, your life would be completely changed. I think that's how band is with all of us.
Yeah, I mean, if I think about it, I have maybe like one or two friends who aren't in band. I'd be such a different person if I like stayed friends. Like if I didn't have my band friends to fall back on, I would have stayed in some pretty toxic relationships. But I did, and I got rid of people that I didn't need, and because I had people to fall back on, and they're my closest friends. Like they know more about me than I used to know about me. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we're very tightly knit group. I'm sure every single section ever can say that.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Join winter percussion if you're not in winter.
Join the
It's
winter
not as
percussion,
hard.
yes.
Yeah, join our winter percussion actually.
Specific.
move
Don't join any
to
other. Just this
high
one.
school, blank high school, and join our winter percussion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but winter
I-
percussion has
Anyways.
honestly gotten me some of the strongest bonds ever. Like, if I hadn't joined this program, I don't think I wouldn't have as many friends as I do. I would have probably close to none. But like this season, I've met some of the nicest people and created some of the strongest bonds I've ever had with anyone. So it's good to have that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's people I would never have any like conception of meeting, and they've like taught me how to be a better person, how to like, I don't know. I would say in my experience it's like be more chill, be more understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, you're kind of a terrible person, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Connor, I hate you. I hate you so much.
That blue-haired girl is not thriving.
Not
I don't want to
driving.
talk about it.
We'll talk about it on a later episode. But anyways,
We can talk about it now. I
alright, we're
feel
gonna talk about
weird
it now?
leaving the audience out of this
I don't
insight.
even know the story. I would like to hear it.
Okay. So
Yeah, all right.
last year,
Who wants
Dayton,
to tell it?
Ohio.
Should I tell it?
I got it. Last year, Dayton, Ohio. Back when Willem was on auxiliary, and so he didn't like have like a mallet instrument to play. So we were doing a warm up, and he went over to one of the marimba's instruments and played on that. And as an aux player, he didn't have too much experience on mallets, so he was kind of doing the warm ups. It was okay, and Flow Marching took a video of it and posted it on their. They posted it, and in the comments we just see that blue-haired girl is not thriving. And at first we thought it was another girl who dyed her hair blue in the program, but she was playing it fine. And then we're like, wait, Willem, because Willem is out here with really long hair and also dyed his hair blue the night before
Ooh,
in our room.
I have a
Got
story.
blue stuff everywhere.
I
on our
dyed his
sink.
hair in your room the night before, and it was so annoying. Because Willem
So
does
I-
not brush his hair or use
I
conditioner.
brush it now, okay? So
And
I
you're
don't
much
know, like,
better at mallets now, also.
if somehow you're listening to this and you're not intimately familiar with musical percussion, listen to this if we didn't specifically tell you to. But like, I'm like a 6'1" guy, but I have really long hair to the point that sometimes people mistake me for being a woman
Or purposely call you a girl. 'cause
or
it's fine.
purposely call me a girl. So I didn't brush my hair at the time, like, at all, and so I was just like screaming as
He was
Nina
screaming like
brushed
a
out my hair.
baby.
It hurt.
It's what we call the lion's mane.
Yeah.
Hey, have I ever
So-
mentioned you look like a girl?
This will not be in the podcast.
Okay,
Damn,
just
he
cut that
got
part
you
out.
there.
He
You
did.
guys are now accessories to cyberbullying.
Okay, Connor, cut out everything except for calling him a girl.
Yeah, Willem, I'm a pretty good editor, dog.
This is wonderful.
Just do it again
This is
now.
going really well.
All right, you guys want to hear the story of how Connor won?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
You cut out. I didn't hear you.
No, I
Wait,
No, I
hold
didn't
on.
hear the
Finish
second part.
it.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, what was the second part?
I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something mean, but I don't want to say it.
What's the stupid thing? Oh, want to
hear
hear
the
the
story
story
about
about how
when Connor-
AJ pissed in the sink?
I I mean, this all just goes to show that we're just all a family. I mean, I didn't really talk to Willem that much. He asked me to dye his hair blue, and I tried my hardest. It's just part of why Dayton was so much fun. Just the things that we did with each other on that trip. That's not meant to sound as bad as it did, but it was a lot of fun being together. Just having that bubble all to ourselves.
Next
Just with
Dayton will
us,
dye
the
my hair
staff.
blue.
Yes.
I hope we have a blue themed show next year so we can have the blue hair.
No, that the hairspray is terrible. Like the fact that we use like the can spray on Willem's hair just made it so much worse. Because I tried to use it because it was like dress up as your friend day, and Serena has bright pink hair,
Oh.
and it made my hair so knotted.
Yeah, I'd like to say I'd say it's about 50% my fault and then 50% the hair dye's fault.
But yeah, it was fun being together, just being friends and playing
Yeah.
percussion.
Like the bus ride was incredible.
Yes, a lot of fun
15
because our
minutes.
staff was there too.
Yeah, and our bus driver Frank, if you're listening, we all love you so much, and we're so mad that we're not
I
going to
hope-
Dayton.
Who
And one of the
said-
biggest.
I never got to meet Frank.
Yeah, okay, who said he died from corona?
I was gonna say shout out to Frank. I hope you're battling corona well
Like-
right now.
It's not even
Stay
funny,
safe.
man. He's such a nice guy, and you said he
He's
died.
He's so
so-
offensive.
Yeah, I don't know. To wrap this all up in a bow, if you were the person who commented on that flow marching video, I am coming for you. I will not stop until your lifeless body is
Okay.
my
Okay.
hair.
Yo, yikes.
So we go to commercial break.
Commercial break.
This episode's sponsored by Flow Marching. Nina, you're a guest. What do you want to talk about in regards to WGI? If you could talk about anything with us.
WGI, honestly, I'd probably just talk about how it's home to so many people. They just make everything such a safe space. I mean, in Dayton, they have this tent that's all like merch and like marimbas and like drums and all of this stuff that like you could probably buy if you had money. And it's just they make us all feel so special. Like they're not like biased in any way. It's just really home for so many people. It's kind of incredible.
It's true. It's so true. And like, I don't know much about the guard scene, but I feel like it's the same way across disciplines. Even like winter wind and guards, it's the same. Like it's a home for so many people.
So Nina, you have a couple seasons left in the whole in the marching band thing. What are your future plans? Like, what do you want to do?
You mean after high school?
No, like in high school, like before you graduate, what do you want to get done?
I really just want to keep perfecting my skills on marimba first and foremost. I want to kind of learn a little more about leadership. I also want to round out a little bit of my, concert percussion skills. I tried learning like ukulele and piano and stuff, and I kind of quit that. I mean, I liked marimba too much, and now I kind of want to learn those two before I graduate. But yeah, overall just get better as a percussionist as a whole and a marimbist because I love marimba so much.
It's very cool, bro.
Thank you.
If you
Nice.
hadn't picked marimba if you weren't playing marimba right now, what would you have wanted done?
So yeah, I'm not so sure just because literally for as long as I can remember I was like marimba. But I do remember my sister when we were picking instruments to go into 5th grade. My sister was like, "Don't play like percussion just because of me. Like, what's your second option?" So I was like, "Oh, trombone because it has a slidey
Yes.
thing, and the band director who I love plays it." So maybe that I probably would not have liked that. I like the only wind instrument I have played ever is a recorder. Um, maybe I'd start a recorder karate group. That'd be so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the best at recorder karate.
I was so good at recorder. Oh my gosh.
I got the first black belt.
I didn't get my black belt.
No one got their black belts. I got purple though. That's the highest we got too.
Nina, I have a
Yeah.
question for you. Can
Shoot.
you recall one of your best memories other than Dayton?
Oh, that's a toughie.
I think this is gonna sound really simplistic, but I think my greatest memory of like winter percussion is just in the band room, just at a practice, like no particular practice, just sitting by my instrument in the band room, looking out at everybody at their instruments, seeing our staff right in front of us, and that's just what I picture, and I just love that picture in my mind.
Yeah, I much is coming off the floor, coming off the field, all of that, giving each other hugs, just like having that feeling that like, and also just, I mean, shows in general, bus rides are so much fun. Just screaming, singing songs, having a bunch of fun with your friends. But yeah, that feeling of coming off the floor, like there's those hugs are like the best hugs ever because you're just like, we did it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really like I I Bryson Teal talked about this, one of our techs. He talked about it on Twitter about how like some marching bands are like marching bands and winter percussion programs, they're very toxic in the way they feel about competition. But I think for us and for our program in general, like it's very much about building each other up and then going out and performing and then like supporting each other throughout that endeavor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is in no way a selfish program. In absolutely no way. Like this program doesn't function if you're just thinking about yourself the whole time.
we're very focused on having other people feel things, connecting with the audience, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like being all like cool and flashy or like a crowd pleaser, but like being more like, hi, we have all of these raw emotions. Like, do you have those too? You know?
Like we
Yeah.
have the ability. One our director, he says this so many times. We have the ability to make people feel something.
Yeah.
So let's make people feel something with what we're doing.
Yeah. Our goal is less to win, more to be memorable.
Mm-hmm. And just kind of do what we love doing.
Yeah, and I think that's really amazing. And I don't know if people outside of our group feel this way about us, but I feel like we're really special. It's kind of, it's like adorable and just like amazing, and that feeling of just being a little bit different than everyone. It's unmatched.
I'm gonna miss this. Like we have an extra month to wait until the next season starts up. We need another countdown.
Like I realized that this is the longest I'm gonna be without winter percussion or marching band in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's also just kind of like this is our home, and like a lot of us like we stay after school before practice and stuff. And, like we basically live here. Now we don't like have an excuse to live here. I have to like go home now. That's so
I
weird.
felt that, man.
I spend absolutely more time in the high school than at my own home.
Yeah, I'm either sleeping or I'm at our high school.
Exactly.
Yeah, I spent more waking hours at the high school in the last 3 or 4 years than I have at my house. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have it any other way.
I feel like out of context, this sounds really strange, just like wanting to be at the high school for hours on end, but like band. Band is absolutely our home. Like the band room, our our band director just lets us in his office and we can hang out and he trusts us and we just have the best times. Like these rooms are just so special to us and we'll always remember these rooms.
Yeah. And I think the word of the day is home. Just cuz that's what it is. This program, this activity, this our high school band room and band office, all of that, it's just home. It's our home. It's our
Absolutely.
I that's so true, and that's why, if anything, I am glad that instead, there was some talk that WGI was gonna do, like, a thing where, there would be no audience for world championships, and I think that may have been able to be, like, a stopgap, and we may have even been able to have finals if we had done that, but I feel like that aspect of connecting with the audience is, like,
Yeah, it wouldn't
real.
Yeah.
have been the same.
especially for our program, I think it's really important to have that audience.
Yeah. But it's also more just it is very much about connecting with the audience. I wouldn't go back on my words with that, but it's also just kind of like us being us together. We perform our own emotions. We perform for ourselves, and it's really rewarding that way. Like for ourselves as a group, I mean. And if there's an audience that's like not really feeling it, it's okay because we feel it in our hearts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like staring. I'm in my basement. I have a marimba, and I have sheet music up, and it's from our show. I'm just kind of like staring at it, playing through it in my head. Yeah.
Nathaniel, our synth too. He never even got all of his music. There was
Yeah.
a portion on our last little part in our segment that it just said "coming soon," and it never came. It will never come. That's actually really sad to think about now.
Yeah, and we didn't even get the rest of our pit body for the ending.
Oh yeah.
Or there was something else we never did.
Well, I mean, speaking as this is like kind of a podcast specifically for Pitt, like I don't think we're ever gonna get that body. I'll be real.
Actually,
No, we definitely
I heard Ricky saying that Saturday was going to be a big body day. So
Yeah, but that doesn't mean for us. Um,
That's a good
I
point.
think while I will touch on this real quick, while this podcast is for like it's Pitcast, that's what it's titled, but we're probably also gonna have drumline people on here too. It's more of a percussion thing than just Pit.
Definitely, yeah. It's more of a give and take with
Uh,
like because a lot of drumline people were in Pitt at some point and vice versa. Like I know our center marimba last year was a bass drum his freshman year and he hated it. He switched.
he did not hate it. He likes bass drum. He's still playing bass drum at his college.
Yeah, in college.
That's true. Shout out to Kevin Rao.
They kind of
Yeah, we love you, Kevin.
Hi,
grew up
Kevin.
a bit. We've had some pretty interesting / cool people as our leaders in the past, at least since I've joined, and they're very respectable in their own ways. I just find that really cool. That like it's also just like it takes a specific leader to shape your group. Like some people graduated, and as soon as that happened, our dynamic shifted.
Yeah, we honestly we should have like an entire episode just about leadership and like how that affects your WGI like or your winter percussion experience because it's such an important aspect and you hear about other schools where like leadership is not so respected or it's not very good.
Yeah.
It's such an important part especially as people move from being underclassmen to like juniors and seniors. It's such an important part of personal growth.
And not even just student leaders, also like your staff and all of that. It's very important to how you run as an ensemble.
Like I touched on this in an Instagram post I made, but being a leader like changed my entire outlook on the program because it's not about playing my instrument anymore. It's now like about helping people, and I honestly like I love it. But like I think the people who do become leaders always love being leaders, but people who aren't leaders always have an outlook like it seems stressful. So if you're out there and you're thinking of trying out to be like a section leader or something, I'd say go for it. Because if you don't like it, you can always just not do it the next year.
Oh my god, we'll spend another episode on how our marching band decides section leaders because man, it's an interesting process.
And then here, like it doesn't matter what like year, what grade you're in. Like Connor, you're a sophomore. Nina, you're a sophomore. Willem,
Yeah.
you were sophomore section leader. Eleanor, you're a freshman. You're almost there.
Getting there.
Getting there, yeah.
Yeah, I just think I don't know, it's just a really important experience for me personally, like leading other students.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part about all of this. Like I like playing and all, but like knowing that I have like even if it's a small impact, like I'm not going to be all egotistical and say I have a giant impact, but like even if it's the tiniest impact on somebody's life or like playing experience in the program, it's like it's such a good feeling.
I also think, I mean, in general, like teaching other people helps you as a person. You become better yourself.
And
Yeah.
even as a leader, having other kids like critique you and tell you, "Hey, you could fix this or this," it makes you feel good. Like you would think it's like a blow to you, like, "Oh, you should be doing this," but it also makes you feel good when the younger kids, like during the marching band season, I felt this when these younger kids are like, "Hey, you should be like 3 steps up or something." And I'm like, "Yeah, I should be." And they notice these things. They feel comfortable to say these things. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like growing, see the growth.
It's actually really cool to see people who join when they're new and just like, that first like awkward like they don't talk phase or maybe they're the opposite and just see them like grow as they stay in.
Yeah, I don't know. You probably won't be on this podcast for a while. We have so many other people to get through. Everyone in our pit section we want to interview. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank you guys for making this first of all because it's a really nice way to connect while we have this break and I think it's important to talk about this stuff and just share our perspectives, get other people's perspectives, all of that. I think it's really amazing that we're doing this. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Connor for getting us all together for this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's really nice to be able to talk to you guys, even when we're all quarantined in our own homes, as I'm sure so many of our listeners across the nation are.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. We're gonna get through this. Stock up on your toilet paper and your Purell and all your other necessities. I know I've got cartons of goldfish in the basement ready for the eating.
Dinosaurs.
Practice,
To be fair, no
Hey,
toilet
Practice.
anymore.
Yeah.
we've got a couple weeks at home. Practice your 3-4 polyrhythms. Listen to this podcast, and then listen to a med at the same.
I love 3/4 polyrhythms. It's so nice.
Um,
Find a way to make this break good, not bad.
Yeah, don't like
and we all have each other's backs across the country even. So yeah, you're
So
never
true.
actually alone if you
it'll pass.
look up the moon, 'cause you'll feel less lonely.
Yeah, well, that's a reference to our 2019 show. Look up, and we'll also have that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching Pitcast. We'll be back next week, and we'll be interviewing some younger blood in the pit section. Thanks so much for watching again. Leave a rating if you're on the Apple Store. Otherwise, leave a like, comment below. Thanks so much.